course. All right, so my name's Michelle. Let's get started. I am the chair of the Membership Engagement Committee. I'm here at the Washington chapter of NASW. And I will pass the baton on to Mr. Hebel, our president.
Pardon, I am drinking wine because it's Thursday and it's my Friday. Thank you all for being here. I'm Garrett. I'm coming to you from West Seattle. I'm president of Washington chapter, formerly an LAC member. Is that it? Wait, name, pronoun, and I'm a he, him pronoun.
And I did skip the pronouns. I apologize. She, her. Thanks, Garrett. If you want to pass it on, popcorn, someone else.
Popcorn. Okay. I don't know Stacy, so I'll call on you.
Hi, I am Stacy Spielman, she, her pronouns. I am a member and ethics committee member, and I'm in Tacoma, Washington. Oh, I have to pop it to someone else, don't I? Patricia.
Good evening, all. I am Patricia Barnes Cannon, the Vice President of Finance. I'm also a member of LAC, and I live in Bothell. Yeah, that's it. Oh, let's go to Miguel.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Miguel Juarez, he, him, él. Right now I'm in Sunnyside, Washington. Nice meeting you all. I mean, those that I don't know. And I will pass it to Danielle.
Danielle Flores. I'm incoming secretary on the board and member of the Member Engagement Committee. She, her pronouns. I'm currently in West Seattle. I will hand it over to Adrian.
Hi, I'm Adrienne Burton, she, her pronouns. I am the chair of the PACE committee, and I live in Lacey, in Olympia. Christopher.
Good evening. I'm Chris Seckert, pronouns he, him. I am on the ethics committee and an inaugural member of the professional review consultant cadre at National. And I reside in Anacortes. And I'm gonna throw it to, oh, let's see, we'll go with Allison.
Hi, is this working? Okay. I am Allison Whitey. I use she, her pronouns. I am the BSW rep for the board. I also serve on LAC and PACE, and I am in Olympia, and I will give it to Janice.
Hi, my name is Janice Nordland. I use she, her pronouns. I am on the Legislative Action Committee. I am here in Auburn today, and I'm also part of the Washington Association of School Social Workers. Oh, and let's see, let's go to Christina.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Mason, she, her pronouns, and I am also on the Legislative Action Committee, joining from Seattle. And, oh, gosh, I'm sorry. Who has not gone yet that I can turn it over to? Perfect. Lindsay.
Hello, I'm Lindsay. I use she, her pronouns. I am the legislative chair for the Washington State Society for Clinical Social Workers. And I am in Renton, formerly a West Seattleite, and I'm so excited about the bridge opening. I'm gonna get some Telericos. Serene?
Yeah, thanks. I'm Serene Miller. I'm the Washington rep and also a member of the Membership Engagement Committee, and I'm she, her pronouns, and I come from Spokane.
And Serene's gonna pass it to Nichelle.
Yes, thank you. Michelle or Jeremy. Did Jeremy go yet?
How about Nichelle go and then you, Jeremy?
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nichelle Curtis McQueen. She, her pronouns. I'm the LAC, which is Legislative Action Committee Chair, and I'm located in Federal Way, Washington.
Thanks, Nichelle.
Great. Popping it over to myself, I guess. My name is Jeremy Arp. I he, him pronouns. I'm the executive director for NASW Washington State Chapter, and I reside in Rainier, Washington. And back to you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing and for being on camera. I do appreciate it. So today is kind of an opportunity for us to get to know everyone. And I just had a few questions that were sent out in the invitation that were starter questions. And then if anyone had a couple extra afterwards, or if there was more you'd like to share about your plans or who you are, what you plan to do during your time contributing to the chapter, this would be your opportunity to share in this setting. So I was going to get started with the president, Mr. Hubel, if he was able to go first. So the first question I have is, what do you have planned in your role and area this year?
Ooh, where do I start? So one of the big things, maybe I can start far out and work in. We started talking about possibly trying to plan a conference for 2024. We are hoping to form a planning committee. We're in this sort of idea generation right now. We haven't had a conference since, gosh, the last one that even could have happened, like 2019, didn't. So it's been almost 5 years, and by then it'll be about 6 years. So I feel like we're ready for that again. And it's time, and I think folks in, well, at least I am, I would love to go to a conference sponsored by my own chapter. So, so there's that. As Chris so enthusiastically mentioned, I am trying to work with the chapter on coming up with ideas to help us be more technologically connected and find ways that we can connect over using technology and find communities for each other that is not just about Facebook or Instagram or social media. I'm hoping to find more sort of accessible ways to do work in some senses, to exchange ideas, to communicate with one another directly. Slack was the first thing that came to mind. And so we've been piloting that with the membership engagement committees, the board, executive committee, and hopefully LAC. So that's where that's starting. And then we hope to maybe launch that a little bit broader. We are talking about with other, Lindsay, I was just in a summit with her, and I've seen her on several different things lately, so I'm glad you could join us again. We're talking about how we can collaborate with other organizations on policy issues, particularly related to the compact that's being discussed, other ethics issues that I'm sure Stacy will come across at some point, related to abortion in different states and how we can protect Washington social workers. We're starting discussions about what it would mean to create our own board again, and who, like, what that would look like, and if people are supportive of that. Because all that's kind of wrapped up into the licensing issues and testing issues and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that to something concrete, I'm hoping that we can try to help support Nichelle put together some legislation and the legislative committee, and support them in that process as they develop that. I'm going to miss stuff, and Jeremy's going to correct me if there's things I don't mention, or that I'm not supposed to be mentioning because I've been drinking wine. So next question.
Alrighty, I think you answered my next one. I was putting, what are your goals for this year? So I feel pretty good about that.
Oh, one thing I did miss, I'm sorry. We're really trying to put a focus internally on EDI. So like doing a full scale evaluation of what is the language of our chapter? How does that speak about equity, diversity, and inclusion? How are we walking the talk with trying to make sure that it's not remiss to me or above my head that the two leaders of this chapter are two white men. And so how are we creating the future of our chapter that looks like the people that we serve and the people that are social workers in our state. So Taikira, who was not able to be with us today, also wanted to make sure I put in a shameless plug for that. We're also thinking about like accessibility issues, folks that need captions or closed captioning or the transcripts, that sort of stuff. Or how do we pay for that? How do we have access to resources? Are we asking those questions within our chapter? Trying to make sure we are inclusive of everyone and that give accessibility to everyone as best we can. And then partnering with more schools in a virtual environment where students are looking for different, they're having bigger challenges as it relates to field practicums. There's more online universities. What is NASW's role in helping students have access to resources? What is our role in creating more resources for clinicians and supervision at the state level, that sort of thing. So these are all the questions that our board will hopefully be addressing this year. And I'm really excited to do all that work with all of you volunteers. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Garrett. You're good. So the last question I have for you is, what motivated you to take on such an active role as president?
Ooh. Honestly, I just really care a lot about our identity as social workers. It's a really good question because honestly, if I'm being honest, when I took on the role, I didn't have children. I had more free time. I had more energy. I honestly, when I started with LAC, Trump had just gotten elected. And I was like, what the hell can I do about this? And so I decided to go learn more about like what's going on in Washington. And so I wanted to be more a part of the policy process as it relates to our profession in Washington State. I wanted to understand how policy makes. I felt like without that, I wouldn't be able to do much effectively if I didn't have that understanding. So that's kind of where I came from. And then over time, I just sort of got asked to do different things, first by our committee and then by the chapter as a whole. And if it's worth anything, I ran unopposed. So there's that. But I'm grateful to be in this position and I'm humbled by it. And I'm hoping that life is better in NASW when I leave. And that's all I could ask for.
Thank you, Garrett, for what you shared. Now the floor is open. If anyone would like to ask, I'll leave it open for 2 more questions for Mr. Hebel. If you could raise your hand physically or with a little emoticon or put it in the chat.
Now's your time. I'm being recorded.
Counting to 15.
Put me on the record.
All righty. Well, if nobody else.
Wait. I have a question.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Well, I have several. I don't want to put them on the spot. Garrett, what would be one advice for us that you say, this is what I really would like for you to do?
Do what Taikira is doing tonight and take care of yourselves. Don't overdo it. Find some time for NASW, but make sure you set boundaries. Don't give us too much of your time. Jeremy's going to hate me for this, but I have to say the only reason that I've made it this far is because I've had to say no to some things. And so that's why I've been able to go 6 years in a row of trying to be as heavily as it could be involved in NASW. So make sure you take care of yourselves. Have NASW in a box if you need to. And because if you don't last, then we won't have you for very long. So please take care of yourselves. That's the biggest piece of advice, if you could call it that I would like to give.
Thanks, Garrett.
And don't feel guilty about it either.
Great question. Did we have any other questions for Mr. Ebel?
Well, if there's no other questions, I'll stick around for like 5 or 10 more minutes, and then I got to help with bedtime. So That's my no for tonight.
Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate it. Alrighty. So I was then gonna go with our president-elect, Mr. Juarez. Are you ready for questions?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, first question. What is your plan this year for your role in your area?
I have a lot of, I'm a dreamer. So, and I would like to follow some of Garrett's steps. I know it's a big shoes to, literally, literally, Garrett, big shoes to fill. I mean, Garrett is working, very hard to bring NASW Washington chapter, up. So I have a big job ahead of me, but my plan includes be more visual, more accessible. By this, I mean go to all those schools, places that are not as big as Seattle or Spokane. Talk to the students, not just to send an email. Talk to the students, be humble, explain what is NASW all about, benefits and everything else. Accessibility, contact, resources, everything that is needed. And I'm saying this because I'm in my school and at Heritage. This is my background. Heritage University, 800 students. We felt NASW was unreachable, and people representing us the same thing. We never had a rep from Heritage. This is the first time. So thank you, everyone. And this is my goal. Go to those, the most needy, talk to them about NASW, and get them engaged into be members, one, to participate in the different committees and make noise. Like to make noise in the Capitol, things that we need until they hear us. If we need to strike, we strike. I used to work for the UFW, United Farm Workers of America, so I'm used to all that. So if we need to make noise, we will make noise if needed. But being visual, equity, advocate at different levels with politicians to make a better Washington a better place to work, to have salaries for social workers. To go up. We always think that social workers we just get anything, but we very need it, and we are worth it. All of us are worth it. So I hear that from my students. They want to be computer technicians, they want to be doctors, they want to be lawyers. And when I say about a social worker, well, you guys don't make a lot of money. And it's not only the money, but we need to price ourselves higher, because we do a very sensible, very needed job at every level. And I think we need to do that. Sell ourselves higher, because we deserve it, all of us, all the social workers. So advocating for all that with politicians, both on the right and the left, and help them, because you just tell them what we need. They don't know what we need. We need to help them. We need to write it for them, all the policies, and advocate it and contact all the time. So anyway, I hope it was not too long.
No, thank you. Thank you. You answered a few questions. I feel like you even answered the last one of what motivated you to take on such an active role. Was there anything else you wanted to add with that question?
Motivated me is that it's different things.
Mm-hmm.
I will mention some of them, and most likely I'll be omitting some. I'll be forgetting some of the most important ones. As you can tell, I'm Latino. I was born and raised in Mexico. For me, it's very, very important to bring the Latino spice sense to different groups, in this case to NASW. Otherwise, someone needs to do it, in other words, and I'm happy to be the one. I'm happy to be the one. Within the same answer, what motivated me is being the voice, those students I'm talking about, those minorities, those people from small towns, be the voice of them, bring it back to big cities, Seattle, Spokane, and go back to you, meet with you and say, this is what I hear over there. that they need, they would like to talk about, let's talk about it. I would like to be the person. In my school, 84% are Latinos, like me, and it's an honor being here. Some people don't believe that. I mean, in the good way, like, really? You're the president-elect, a Latino? It's like, even in 2022, it's like unheard. I mean, you know why? It's like, really? A Latino there? I don't believe it. So, but I am. Thanks to a lot of people. So for me, it's important to bring in the Latino spice and the voice, Latino voice at this level.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think that was something very hard for me when I came as a Latina, kind of find
Yeah.
more voices and faces that I identified with. So I appreciate that you're here and the work that you do.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, did anyone else have any questions for Mr. Juarez, our president-elect?
Anyone? Right now is your chance.
Raise your hand.
Whenever you have over to your home, if they visit Sunnyside, what meal are they going to get?
Oh man,
what I had was excellent.
You know, I'll leave that to my wife. We would like to treat our guests very well. So for sure, will be more than 3 main dishes to eat, and tortillas a mano, you know, by hand. She likes to do that too. And I mean, we in the middle of the wine country, so will be wine as well.
I think I almost fell asleep on the way home after the board meeting.
Yeah. So, and I want to ask you something. I mean, to everyone, if you seen that I'm not doing my job, please let me know. Say, Miguel, I think you're talking too much, or you need to do this, or your accent, or you're talking too fast, or please get more engaged in this. Let me know. I always take this criticism, you know, in a positive way to improve myself. Let me know. I'm a fast learner, I believe. And I can do great things if you just guide me a little bit. This is not one person's job. It requires everyone. It's not just one person. This is just a position I have right now. But that doesn't mean I'm the best or I'm the most intelligent. That doesn't mean that. I'm just here right now, but it requires every single person here to do our job. So please, let's work in as a team and and I'll appreciate if you guys help me improve myself.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to move on to the next person. I was messaged by Serene, who is one of our Eastern Washington regional reps, to go next, which is having to go soon. So I'm going to go on to Serene. Garrett.
Speaking of which, part. Thank you all so much. Take it away, Serene.
Thanks, Garrett.
Thanks, Garrett.
Bye, Garrett.
So one of my goals is to create connection with the Eastern Washington area. I'm working with the Western Washington representatives to create liaisons for each of our counties, so that we can connect with our broader areas. Eastern Washington covers a lot of geographical area, and we would like to meet the needs of all of our membership. And so in addition to that, we'd also like to have more liaisons and more representatives in the schools, so that we're meeting the needs of our students, similar to Miguel's mission. And that is one of my main goals and endeavors for this year. And one of the things that motivates me is to create that connection. As a clinical social worker, I don't have a lot of connection with social workers in Spokane. And that's one of the reasons I started with the Membership Engagement Committee when I was an MSW student. And so I'm really looking to create opportunities to network and connect with other social workers in our areas and help them share what they're already doing, so that we're not recreating the wheel, and engage in advocacy efforts to support our other fellow social workers.
Thanks, Serene. Wrapped it all up together. Before Serene has to go, does anyone else have questions for Serene or Eastern Washington Regional Rep? One of the two?
No question, but I'm looking forward to working with you, Serene, here, I mean, closer to me.
Yeah.
And I would like to visit your school, your area, and everyone's, not just Serene's, and be more visual.
Yeah,
I would like
love
to do
that.
that, so
Come on over.
hopefully pretty soon. All right.
All right. Any other questions, comments, hellos, and goodbyes?
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Serene. Alrighty, I was gonna call on Danielle next. Danielle Flores, our secretary. You ready to go, Danielle?
Sure. So as secretary, just hoping to continue the efforts of our previous secretary to make sure that our records are always accurate and timely, reliable, so that we can reflect back on our notes as we continue to move our goals forward. One of the personal goals I have for the chapter this year is I know the Membership Engagement Committee has worked really hard to put together a survey to elicit some valuable feedback from our members about what they want to see our chapter look like. So I really want to advocate for those things that people are seeing as important. I want to make sure that our goals as a chapter don't just reflect the goals of our leadership, but really reflect the things that people in our association want to see. So I just want to be a voice for them and those goals moving forward. Why I get actively involved. I really love direct practice. I work in direct practice. I love clinical social work, but I'm also really passionate about trying to improve the profession in any way that I can as well. It's kind of my opportunity to get involved in macro social work in a way that my personal job doesn't allow me to. So that's what kind of motivates me to stay engaged and help out where I can.
Thank you, Danielle. Thanks for all your hard work you do at the MEC and all over. Did anyone else have any questions or hellos to Miss Danielle, Ms. Flores?
It's weird being called Miss Flores. I'm not used to that.
I think so, but Danielle is your preference. Sorry. All right, if no one has questions for Danielle or hellos, I'm gonna go to the next person. I'm randomly choosing, hoping that you're ready. Pat or Ms. Barnes Cannon, are you ready to go and answer a few questions?
Okay, good evening, everyone. What am I doing in my role and area? I am the Vice President of Finance, which means basically I help Jeremy and oversee and make sure records are accurate, so that when the reports are given for each state, we are timely and making a profit, really. Money is quite interesting. I know most people probably think this is boring, but you know, working with Jeremy, you really learn a lot in terms of trends and ways to improve with what you're doing. But I find it's just been exciting, actually, because I like statistics. So you start looking at things throughout not just our state, but nationally. So I just basically review the budget with Jeremy and actually help determine all the financial goals based on profits and losses that occur within our chapter, based, of course, with national. My goals for this year, it kind of already started. I actually like making money. And so I like to seize on opportunities to find ways to maybe have little profit makers. And so if you hear me, and I've talked to Michelle about a couple of things, and that's really kind of my thing, is raising money. So I'm excited about the forthcoming opportunity to do the conference, because, you know, there's money to be made there. This has been exciting learning, again, like I said, with Jeremy, because he stepped into a role that needed a lot of help. And to find out that our state budget is truly healthy is great. But I will say this, and this is what I guess I'm excited about, but not really. We have a lot to look forward to this next year right now, due to so many economic changes. So this will be a challenging year, I think, for us to look for creative ways to keep our budget healthy. And that's basically my goal and role.
I apologize. Thank you so much for sharing. Did anyone have any additional questions for our Vice President of Finance?
No question. Oh, go ahead, Anne.
Go ahead, Anne.
Hi, Pat, this is Ann Allen. I would just like you to share with folks how you developed a passion for our chapter. I have one for you, so that's why I'm asking.
You know, it's grown on me. It's one of those things you step into, and of course, for me, it's I've been sort of, I'm gonna be honest, been somewhat fearful. But as I've learned from everybody around, and again, like I said, working with Jeremy and Garrett and everybody, it's just been, they've been so supportive in what you do. I like serving, and this is a great opportunity, and it is a privilege to be able to do this. And so I'm kind of excited, like I said, as I start seeing little opportunities to maybe inject a little bit more to keep our budget healthy. So thank you so much for asking, Ann.
I just like to say that Pat is doing a very good job, and she's very invested in informing us about all the finance. I just appreciate you being there, Pat.
Well, thank you. I'd like to do a better job, though. So there's always more for me to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat, for joining. I don't know if you remember me, but I had so much fun meeting you the first time I joined LAC.
Ah, yes, I do remember you.
We had some chats about CPS and what I was getting into. So I
yeah.
You have for many vastness of experience and how much you have to share. So glad you could join. Did anyone else have any other questions or notes they want to make for Pat?
So the thing I'm going to say is that networking, that being able to pick someone's brain with a lot of historical knowledge, making those relationships, in my opinion, is one of the reasons I have been active with NASW for a lot of years.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, I think that is all we have for Pat right now. Thank you again. I'm going to roll to Nichelle. There, LAC, all the positions and things you do.
Hi, like I said, my name is Nichelle Curtis McQueen. I'm in the Federal Way area, and I'm the chair for the Legislative Action Committee. I'm going on my third year in this role, following Garrett, our President-elect Garrett Hebel. My goals for this year for the Legislative Committee is, one, to continue to produce an amazing product in our policy conference. The last 2 years, our conference has been via Zoom, and as our state opens up more, we're entertaining the ideas of how we can make it better every year, contemplating coming in person at the Capitol, and kind of how our President-elect Miguel said, rally, cheer, march to the Capitol, say our names, let people know who we are as social workers, and advocate for those bills during session that support not only us, but the clients that we serve, from clients of mental health, substance abuse, criminal justice, as well as pay for social workers. I think that's so important. I'm happy that the president-elect touched base on the pay for social workers and retaining social workers. More specifically, one thing that we're looking at doing is pushing a bill, which means kind of creating a bill, and Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially like having a bill introduced that's a reflection of our chapter. And so that's a first for me, and I'm excited, and I've been wanting this for a few years now, and Jeremy, has been stressing the workload behind it. But this year he's letting me loose. I've been letting our committee loose to do this hard work. What motivates me to take such an active role, not only this year, but always, is the people that have supported me throughout my membership as a member of NSAW and an LAC member. I started under the chair of the great Ann Allen, who a lot of us on this call started under 6 years ago, along with Garrett. And Ann has been such an amazing mentor, as well as some of the other longer standing members of the committee have been such an amazing mentors to the newer faces. One of the things that I'm proud of as your LAC chair is how many new faces we have on our committee. When I joined 6 years ago, it seemed like it was the same people with the same passion. The committee today, I think off the top of my head, we might have 5 or 6 new members, which is just outstanding. And these members, some of them came from the conference that we put on virtually, which was able to grasp such a wide range of social workers across the state and across the country who are doing those online programs. Go for the online programs. So that is what motivates me. I love macro social work. Much respect for clinical social work, but macro has my heart, and I think it always will. Going to the Capitol and advocating for social workers, teaching social workers the importance of advocacy and macro social work. I oftentimes get not made fun of, but asked like, why do you like that work? It's so hard. I think clinical is just as hard too. All of social work practice is hard, and all of us play a role in what we do in it, from the clinical side to the advocating on the macro side.
Thank you, Michelle. I feel impassioned after hearing you talk so many times. Thank you for joining. Did anyone have any questions or anything they'd like to share with Michelle in particular?
I'll say something positive, Michelle. I mean, I hear you speaking, and you giving the energy I need. So I'm looking forward to working together and
I have no idea how I have it. If you knew my week this week. I'm very passionate.
Oh, you have that.
And I love the chapter, and I love the LAC. So
just listening to you, it gives me hope that yes, it can be done. Anything can be done.
Thank I'm a firm believer anything can be done. It's
Great.
okay to be called ambitious, even if it's condescending and passively aggressive. I love being called ambitious.
Great. All right.
I see, Anne, you unmuted. What do you want to ask?
I just really want to say, A, I did not pay Michelle to say that. And B, I really appreciate your focus on macro when you have so much going on in your clinical work, in your daily work, because I know how hard you work there. So thank you for sharing some of your wonderful energy with us. I cannot be more appreciative.
And I know that you didn't pay me, but I think there's a few people on this call that would probably say the same thing. I think there was a few of us that started around the same time under your chair and your leadership, and including Garrett. And I know a lot of us would say the exact same thing, how you push us, you volunteer us to do things and plant your seed. And and a lot is owed to you.
I'm loving this energy. Since we are getting closer to the end of time, I am going to go on to the next person, but thank you so much, Michelle and everyone.
So the last thing I'm going to say, this is Anne, is I'm going to run for president next year.
Ooh, you got my vote, then.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you,
Somebody
Andrew.
will call Garrett, and I'm pretty sure he'll call me in the middle of the night and be like, what? What happened? But that's okay. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Well, thank you for your announcement. I had Allison up next to go. Allison, are you still ready to go ahead with these questions?
Yes, and thank you for sending them ahead of time. So I guess what I'm doing and my goals are really similar. And I know that Garrett and Miguel and Serene have all actually touched on getting more student involvement in NASW. And so as the BSW rep, that's something that's really close to my heart as well. Getting involvement through outreach and then education about the benefits of joining NASW as a student beyond just the awesomely cheap annual membership. Like the research library, the free webinars for students, and then also just really reaching out to students in our state and seeing what they are hoping to get from this chapter and what they need, and then figuring out how to meet some of those needs. My really tangible goal for this year, I'm the 4th St. Martin's University BSW rep, which I'm very honored about. I totally love my school, but there shouldn't have been 4 of us. We have amazing social work programs in this state at schools, and so I want like 3 candidates for BSW rep next year. That's my goal. I will be happy with that. My motivation for taking such an active role was mostly just as a student getting into social work at this point in my life. I was like, no, I just want to do it. What do you mean I have to go to school for 2 more years? And so this was an area that I could just jump into without having my degree yet. And hopefully I'm contributing to the areas that I feel really passionate about and I want to work in. I too am really drawn to macro social work. I get really enthusiastic about policy and advocacy. So being on PACE and LAC felt really natural. And it also, I had to think back about why I wanted to be on those committees at first, because when I was thinking about it tonight, I was like, why wouldn't I want to be like, I sit there sometimes, I'm like starstruck at some of the other social workers. Like I'm gonna assume this, but I know like it's been a long day for me too. And we were saying how Nichelle just seems so energetic right now. And it's just being with social workers and hearing like people that are coming from the same place and have the same passion, like with everything else going on, it's just so hopeful and it's like those good motivation boosters that you're like, yes, I can do this. And there are other people that are going to make a difference too. And so that is why I'm here.
Thank you so much, Allison, for sharing and for being here. It's great to have such passion and hear all the ideas. I did just realize how time has been flying, and we only have 13 more minutes till the usual end of time. Hilarious Jeremy, let everyone know if there is, who can stick around and who would like to go as the last person before 7:30. So if you could raise your hand if you need to leave by 7:30, please raise your hand. Okay, Pat's gone. Janice has got to go. Anyone else who has to leave by 7:30? Okay, all righty. Thank you all for sticking out. Allison, I would open up for questions. I'm gonna go to Janice and she's got to go. Okay, thank you.
I appreciate that. I'm happy to email my comments in, but I can be quick too. So this year I plan to participate in the policy conference planning and just helping the LAC wherever I can. This is a learning curve for me as well. And so I love Pat's, like just her enthusiasm for learning and continuing to do better every year. So, because I feel the same way. Because my goal this year is to be fluent in the policy process. I am stumbling my way through this. But I took on an active role because I nearly became unqualified for my job due to a piece of legislation that was introduced 2 years ago. So then I actively lobbied with the Washington Association of School Social Workers to correct the bill, and then met Jeremy and Bob Cooper, our lobbyist, in the process. So being a part of the LAC has helped me better understand the legislative process and to better advocate for underrepresented students and families in our state.
Ooh, thank you, Janice. That was a fast breeze through, but a lot of information. Glad to hear so much passion in this room. Does anyone have any questions for Janice before she's got to leave us?
Well, I'm happy to connect with any school social workers that you know of. And there was the girl who was here earlier. I'll get in contact with her.
Thanks, Janice.
Yeah, thank you, Janice. Definitely, we're glad to have the opportunities for networking. That's a big part of why we're having this event. And we want people to be more reachable, especially these last few years of that difficulty. Is there anyone in particular who wanted to go next after Janice? There are no more questions. Adrian? Maybe?
Yeah, okay, fine, I'll go. So again, I'm the chair of the PACE committee, a position. I also took over from Ann Allen after she successfully manipulated the fact that I can't tell her no. I came in with, Nichelle and Garrett at the same time, LAC and PACE, but, and I will also admit that despite getting the email saying I was going to answer questions, I didn't let it trigger that I was going to have to answer questions. So that was just the board members. So we're flying completely off the cuff here. But PACE right now, we are, PACE is one of the committees that has not very much to do when there's not an election going on, and a lot to do when there's an election going on. So right now we have already made several votes on endorsements for candidates in the upcoming election. And actually PACE committee members have an email with the voting for donations for several of those candidates. So that's kind of what we're working on right now, is getting our donations out there so they can kind of have the best chance of using the money. My goals, I would like for us to maybe find some way of doing some sort of fundraising to get more money into PACE so that we can, we have more money this year than we have last several years, I believe, definitely. So we're getting able to do more with that. So we're, be able to donate more money to more candidates, which is great. But obviously we want to be able to donate as much as we can. So I'd like to see us be able to fundraise some additional money so that we can, in later years, we can, donate to more candidates. And my phone will let me into it. Oh, there you go. Again, what motivated me, Ann Allen. She cornered me at the policy conference and was like, because you can only do this for 2 years. She was like, will you do it? I'm like, well, I can't tell you no. So yeah, sure. Love to. It's almost verbatim how that went. So that's it.
Oh, thank you for sharing. It's always a pleasure. Did anyone have any questions for Adrian?
If anyone wants to join PACE, you're welcome. Please do.
I'm learning a lot. Just trying to go as much as I can.
You came in at a good time.
Good to know.
So when there's not an election, PACE is boring. There's not much, going on. But when there's an election going on, it's a lot busier. And yes, there are. Jeremy so graciously put in the link in the chat. If you want to donate up to at least $10 to PACE, we do have to have 10 donations of $10 each before we're able to actually donate the money. We still need a few more. So anyone who has it, please do. I have money that I want to give away.
Candidates we want to support.
Oh, thank you, Anne.
If there aren't any questions or comments or love to share, I'm gonna go on to the next person. Sorry, Adrian, maybe love was too strong a word. I'm just gonna go on to Christina next. If you're ready to go and share, it's up to you.
Sure, thanks. Adrian, thank you for saying what I was thinking, that, oh, I thought I was just going to come here from the board. I should have read that email better. So, but it's really great to just meet all of you and get to know people a little bit better. I'm on the Legislative Action Committee. I've been on the committee since 2020. And I guess in terms of my goals for this year, just being involved in supporting the policy conference planning. And every year, I feel like since we've stepped into this year, it's so interesting because we're talking about, how can we maybe have some in-person events along with virtual, and just really kind of using this new technology that we have to engage more students from across the state, but also just make it a really kind of hands-on, meaningful experience. So I'm excited about kind of stepping into this new evolution of the conference. And I guess what motivates me is just, well, selfishly, just really enjoying the people on the committee and just feeling like I get to learn so much about so many different areas of micro and macro social work from the discussions that we have about issues. So I feel like it's been really important for my kind of professional growth and development, not just the people, but also understanding more about the legislative process and having an opportunity to impact so many issues that are important to social workers and to community members in the state. So I don't know, I love the LAC because it feels like we get to do a little bit of everything, in terms of social justice, professional issues. So hopefully that answers it. It's great to meet you all.
Thank you, Christina. I saw you unmuted. Miguel, did you want to ask something?
I just want to say thanks, Christina. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to meet you at that the conference 2 years ago and kind of hear about what you do and see the great work that LAC does. Anyone else has any questions? This is your chance for Christina. Alrighty. I am on to 3 last people. So I'm not counting myself or Jeremy. So Stacy or Chris, did y'all want to go and share, or Dr. Hecker, I apologize, and answer the questions? Totally up to you. You can say no.
I'm happy to. I don't know if Chris is ready or not.
You can go ahead and start, and then I'll just add anything if I want to.
Okay. Well, so I am super excited we are talking about adding a warm line this year, which would be an ethics committee opportunity for folks to call in and to try out cases or to ask for input. And we were talking about that right before the Dobbs decision came down in June. So personally, I'm really interested as a goal this year in trying to figure out if we can do some kind of a training or create some kind of a tip sheet, particularly for our colleagues who are on the east side, for potentially serving folks from Idaho or Utah who may be having different interactions with the medical world in the new climate. So that's something that of a personal goal. I'm also really interested in increasing, we we're down a couple of folks on our committee. So we really need to do some recruiting, and it'd be great to diversify our committee as well. Patricia might not be so excited with my one idea, which was, could we potentially offer a lower membership rate to try and entice maybe some folks who maybe wouldn't have historically signed on to the membership, so that they would become a member and be eligible for the committee. But that was just an idea, but those are some of my goals, and I'm just really excited about working with the committee.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of add to that from an ethics committee standpoint, that I think one of the goals that I hope for us is, historically the ethics committee has sort of been seen as the professional review committee, where we really sort of focus more on the end of things after somebody has potentially violated one of our ethical standards. And I would love to sort of get on the preventative end of increasing our education and awareness around ethical standards and how they sort of apply, and how they can inform our practice, and specifically outside of clinical practice. I think our field has a current trend of really honing in on emphasizing clinical social work while kind of overlooking our ethical standards as it relates to supervisory relationships, education, research, and some of those other really important areas of social work practice as well.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy and Dr. Hecker. I don't know, Stacy, if you're a doctor as well. I apologize, I should have asked. But did anyone have any questions for Stacy and Chris? Questions about ethics committee? To be honest, I actually have always kind of seen the ethics committee as kind of this cloud in the sky, and I never quite understood what it was. But as I've been working more and in different positions, I definitely think I could benefit, and many people around me, from a warm line. So I love that idea. No one else has any questions, comments, kudos? I think we'll go on. Oh, Michelle.
This is like kind of off the, I don't know, off script, but I want to give you, Michelle, kudos. You have been putting on, in the membership engagement committee, have been putting on these events, I think for about 2 years, and I've attended several of them. And I know the outcome is not always what we want to see, but I absolutely enjoy all the events that the membership engagement committee puts on. They're very engaging. You get to meet people, and it's the same kind of passion that we're having in this room. And I encourage all of us to go to our fellow social workers, students and professionals, to encourage them to attend these meetings that the membership engagement committee puts on, because I do find a lot of value in them. So I want to give you, Michelle, and the membership engagement committee kudos.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of what it's all about, what we're trying to do. And I honestly, it's so much of the whole committee coming together. As chair, co-chair, I've really been wanting to support what all the other members' ideas are, and make sure it's a collaborative conversation and pulling in what members are asking for, like Danielle talked about earlier. So thank you, appreciate that. We have Ms. Ann Allen. Would you like to share? Answer some
Do I have to?
Nope, you do not. It's
No,
totally
it's fine. I'm being a little sarcastic. Sorry. Yes, I would love to share. The first question is?
First, I just messaged them to you, but first question is what do you do in your current role in your area?
Well, within NASW, I have had long-term membership in LAC and the PACE committee and the nominations committee. And I have tried tremendously hard to bring in a new generation of leadership, because when I came, I was the youngest person at any meeting. So I am so happy to see all of you here with the investment and the energy. And I'd love to help guide us to the next step.
And my next question was, what are your goals for this year? I think you kind of answered that one. Okay, and then the last question was, what motivated you to take on such an active role in the chapter?
Yeah, I think I answered that question pretty clearly. Sorry, I live downtown. Give me a second.
No, you're good. We just barely hear the sirens.
The ambulance in the background, you know. Sorry. Okay.
Did it
So
say-
what really motivated me is quite a few years ago. Good God, I don't know. Maybe even 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I don't know what the date was when we passed title protection, but I was asked to come and testify in front of a committee. And so I did. I repeated what I had been told was the truth. It wasn't. So I'm sorry for that. But we passed it that year. There were enough social workers in the House and the Senate to help us pass it. And I have a picture with Christine Gregoire and Taylene and so many of our ex-executive directors and presidents. I'm very proud of that moment. They got me by the hook. And ever since, the idea that I could actually pass a law that made a difference for us, for people, has just filled me with hope. So I can't give it up. There you go. That's why I'm here. It can be better.
Thank you, Miss Ann, so much for sharing. Did anyone else have questions, comments, kudos for Ann?
I just, I don't know, and at all, not a lot, but I wish you continue helping us, especially me in this case, and learn from you as much as possible.
That would be my preference, that everybody do this. Everybody learn how to inspire others and bring them forward. Because as leaders, that is our job. And I think the people just slightly ahead of us didn't take it seriously enough. But we need to.
Thank you, Anne, for being the powerful, positive force that you are. Yeah, okay. I'll just go through them real quick. So what I'm doing as chair of membership engagement committee is just facilitating that conversation within our committee, trying to engage more members to join. I feel like I'm actively in my social work life asking people about what would motivate them to join or what their barriers are, so I can learn how to make us more accessible. My goals are to do more fun things, have more accessible, exciting things that people want to do. Like Danielle's brought up the fun idea of a book club. Like, why not? And having more engagement with students, because I feel like students want so much, not just our 3 universities that we mainly focus on here, but online and Heritage and all the St. Martin's and all the other students from all over. I felt kind of isolated as an MSW student, which is kind of why I joined as a MSW student rep. So that kind of rolls into what motivated me to join. I just wanted that connection, being new to the state from Arizona and wanting to meet other wonderful social workers. And I've definitely loved staying around the wonderful people I've gotten to meet, such as Michelle, Christina, Adrian, and Dr. Hecker, and meeting every new face that I get to meet. It's moments like these and meetings like this that really remind me why I do this.